Joining us now are CBS 21 political insiders, Tony May on the Democratic side to my right, Charlie Giroux, Republican strategist to my left. Thank you guys for being here as always.
Let's start with Arlen Specter, the senator on the Senate floor giving his farewell speech. I mean, 30 years, two parties, and it comes down to him saying this is not a farewell speech. Yep. It's a closing argument to my colleagues. Tony, when you watched it, did you feel a little anger, bitterness there at all?
No, not at all. I mean, I think he's done a great service to the people of Pennsylvania and for the nation, and I think that he is not the end of reasonable men that we're going to see who are willing to stand in the middle between the warring factions. I mean, I think that he set an example. I think that we're going to see more of that, not less, as we go into the new Congress, as the gap between Democrats and Republicans has shrunk. Mm-hmm.
And Charlie, we saw you in the piece as well. You had commented on Senator Specter saying about going back to the golden ages.
Yeah, and I think Tony's right. I certainly hope that he is, that there's going to be a little bit more civility in the process, going back to the days of Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill, where they would battle all day long and then share a drink after work together and be friends, because we are all in this together. We may have very different perspectives from which we approach the public policy process, but ultimately it's for the good of the country.
Like you and Tony.
There you are.
You can argue all day,
anybody
right?
can.
Right.
Yeah.
Does anything particular stand out about his 30 years to you?
Oh, I think he was a gigantic role in the judiciary, the slating of people for the judiciary. Some which were very controversial, like Bork, which is a name out of the past for many people. But others, just his willingness to ask the tough questions, the really tough questions, and to do it with some measure of grace. Even though he was a former prosecutor, he was not afraid to be nice to people and pull them along, too.
Will we see another Specter?
You're probably not going to see anybody that serves for 30 years in the United States Senate, or anybody that is as interesting as Arlen Specter. I mean, Tony's correct. His hallmark is going to be his impact on the judiciary. But if you go back and think about the Clinton impeachment trial, for example, and his vote being cast based upon Scottish law, certainly not exactly what other senators would have done. But Arlen Specter, a breed unto himself, and somebody that was a tireless worker for the people of Pennsylvania.
Let's talk a bit about the census. We've been talking about it since the count some months back, but the preliminary results came back today, Tony, and it means we're going to lose a seat in Congress.
Lose a seat in Congress in Pennsylvania. Other northeastern states also losing seats. It'll make it a tougher hill to climb for Obama in his reelect, because there will be more votes in the Electoral College in states that he didn't do as well in. So he's going to need to win some of the larger states like Texas if he wants to win by a decent margin.
Charlie, U.S. House of Representatives going down from 19 down to 18 seats. Is that correct?
Tanya, it's not only going down from 19 to 18, but in the lifetime of Tony May, our congressional delegation has been cut in half. So this loss of seats is really dramatic. You know, my dad used to tell me it's an ill wind that blows nobody any good, so I'm glad that if Pennsylvania has to lose a seat, that it's going to a state that will help Republicans in 2012 as we seek to get a new occupant at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. But in all seriousness, the migration south and west and the increases in population are something that ought to be of concern to all Pennsylvanians and to the Northeast generally. We've got to do something to reverse that trend, both politically but also demographically. And also, you know, you shouldn't have to buy a plane ticket to go see your grandchildren.
But there's another piece in the census numbers that is really instructional. Because the economy is so bad, immigration, legal and illegal, has dropped way down here in the United States. We haven't seen the growth that we've seen in previous decades, and so our whole fears about the immigration problems take on a different perspective when we realize that people are coming here for job opportunities, and if they don't exist, we're not going to have an immigration problem.
All right. Well, we'll leave it at that tonight. Thank you guys for being here, and you can catch our political insiders every Tuesday right here at CBS 21 News at 5:30.